Chicago Bears are coming off a season where they were one of the worst teams in the entire NFL, sitting with a record of 3-14, and as we approached the offseason, the Bears had so much work to do to improve this roster. The Bears also had the number one pick in this upcoming draft, and many believe that they needed to trade back just due to the factor that they already have their future quarterback in Justin Fields. A few weeks later, boom, the Bears absolutely stole a young and upcoming wide receiver as well as stacking up picks. And the new front office immediately looked like they wanted to turn this team around. Now, in this video, I'll be breaking down everything that the Bears have done this offseason and what they need to do next in order to completely change the culture of the Chicago Bears team going forward. However, before we jump into the video, make sure you guys smash that like button. If you've liked what Ryan Poles has done so far this offseason, let's see if we can get this video up to 300 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'm going to be covering the Bears and the rest of the NFL all year long, so join the family. And one last thing, comment down below who you believe is the most underrated player on this Bears team right now. And also, let me know what team you guys want me to break down next. Now, without any further ado, let's jump right into today's video. So, as we all know, the Bears probably had the most work to do in just terms of teams and building a roster. They had the most work to do this offseason, and to be fair, they've done a lot. And to say that they've done a lot is kind of an understatement at this point. At this point of the offseason, the Bears are pretty much running free agency. Now, before we take a deep dive into all their signings, let's take a look back at 2022 and where they need to improve the most offensively. Now, last season, the Bears ranked number 23 in points per game, number 28 in yards per game, number 31 in fourth down conversion percentage, number 20 in yards per play, and number 19 in touchdowns per game. Now, looking at these numbers right away, we see a major need of, just improvement on the overall offensive side of the ball. But if we take a deeper look into where these stats are coming from, we can definitely see what's wrong with this offense. Now, for starters, the Bears actually had one of the most dominant rushing attacks in all of football last year, ranking number 1 in yards per rush, number 3 in rushes per game, number 1 in rush yards per game, and number 7 in rushing touchdowns per game. Obviously, the run game is not the problem. However, the Bears ran the ball more than any other team in the NFL, which at times can make them very easy to read, if that makes any sense. Teams kind of know that the Bears want to run the ball, and it kind of just makes them a little bit one-dimensional, if you guys know what I'm saying. Now, passing the ball wise, it's kind of complete opposite. The Bears had a lot to improve on, ranking number 30 in completion percentage, number 28 in yards per pass, number 32 in pass yards per game, number 32 in interception percentage, and number 32 in sack percentage. So, guys, they're ranking dead last in 3 major categories when it comes to passing the ball. Now, when we really take a moment and look at these numbers, it's kind of eye-opening if you really think about it. That's really, really bad compared to being one of the best running teams in the NFL. It's just completely opposite. And if they can just, slightly, not even slightly, they kind of got to majorly improve this passing offense. But if they can, they could have a very deadly offense, and that's what not a lot of people are talking about. However, the good news is the Bears have already made a ton of moves, to get this offense up and running for next season. Firstly, trading the number 1 overall pick for DJ Moore. And guys, in my opinion, this was an A+ start to the offseason in my books. Let me know what you guys would grade it. But not only did the Bears get a young and upcoming wide receiver, they also stacked up on some draft picks for this year and in the future as well. I would say this is a huge W trade for, the Bears, man. For the Bears, I think this was huge, and I think it's really going to, kickstart this offense for next season. Now, like I said, comment down below what you would rank that trade for the Bears, or what grade would you guys give it. Now, DJ Moore is going to step up right away and be a go-to wide receiver for Justin Fields. In DJ's 5-year career with Carolina, he's put up 364 receptions, 5,201 yards, 21 touchdowns, while averaging about 14.3 yards per catch. The Bears currently are sitting on a a very underrated wide receiver core right now, and I really think they could shock the world in terms of, production. I mean, you got DJ Moore, you got Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Equanimeous St. Brown, you got Velus Jones. Dude, these guys really have the ability to just be very effective on the field. Justin Fields needs to improve as a passer this offseason if the Bears want any shot at turning this thing around sooner rather than later. But the additions don't even end there. As we all remember from those stats earlier, the Bears led up the most sacks in the NFL last year and desperately needed to improve that offensive line. And although they did bring in former Texans right guard Nate Davis, who's most likely going to come in and be a day one starter for them, they still have some more work to do on this offensive line. Don't get it twisted. They still got some work to do building up this offensive line, building around Justin Fields. But that is a good start. And then from there, they went on and signed tight end Robert Tonyan. And in my opinion, this is going to be another very underrated move, which I believe that will also just help them overall improve the team in the passing game. Tonyan coming over from the Green Bay Packers after playing, 4 or 5 years with Aaron Rodgers, and will now bring, some of his knowledge and just leadership to Justin Fields. Over a 5-year career in Green Bay, Robert Tonyan has accounted for 137 receptions, 1,437 yards, 17 touchdowns, while averaging about 10.5 yards per catch throughout his career. Now, lastly, the last thing the Bears did was sign former DJ Moore teammate, running back D'Onta Foreman. Now, after losing David Montgomery, the Bears need to find someone to help carry the load with Khalil Herbert, now potentially taking over as the number one running back. However, Foreman is coming off such a good season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him carve out a really solid role in this offense to at least start the season. At the very least, he's one of the best second-string running backs in the league, but could easily come in and just be a very good committee with Khalil Herbert and D'Onta Foreman. Now, the Bears' offense has drastically improved, and Justin Fields no longer has any more excuses. It is up to him to get this passing attack going, because we already know they have one of the best running attacks or best rushing attacks in all of football. Now, with that being said, what has been your favorite signing so far this offseason? And before we jump into the defensive side of the ball, make sure you guys smash that like button if you're enjoying the video so far. Subscribe if you're new. I will be covering the entire NFL all offseason long, so turn on them post notifications, and I'll get you notified every time we drop a video. Now, this might be a very long video just because the Bears have done so much work this offseason, and we're only like a week and a half into the offseason. So they've done a great job so far. And like we did with the offense, let's quickly look at how rough this defense was last season. Now, the Bears ranked number 32 in points allowed, number 29 in yards allowed per game, number 32 in opposing third down conversion percentage, number 32 in opposing touchdowns allowed per game. Legitimately, just an awful season for the defense. But again, we have some good news. In my opinion, in the signings that they've made support this claim that I'm about to make. I think the Bears are completely comfortable letting the secondary, develop through the offseason, and primarily, they'll probably keep it pretty much untouched until the draft. Maybe they'll add some young talent in the draft, but I don't think they're going to bring in any free agents to the secondary. I think they just want some of these guys like Kyler Gordon and Kindle Vildor, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Johnson. I think they just want these guys to just develop from here on out. Now, let's talk about their primarily big focus coming into the offseason was just solidifying their front seven, and they pretty much did exactly that. First, they brought in TJ Edwards, who is coming over from one of the best defenses in all of football, the Philadelphia Eagles. He will bring leadership, knowledge, and overall just talent to this linebacker position, which they lacked pretty much all last year. Over a 4-year career, TJ has put up 389 tackles, 215 of those were solo. He's got 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions as well. Not only will TJ come in and add, tremendous depth, but he's also going to be, a very impactful player from day one, for the rest of his time here in Chicago. They also added another linebacker, in Tremaine Edmunds. Now, from the Buffalo Bills, he's also going to come over and probably be a day one starter as well. Now, over his 5-year career in Buffalo, he's accounted for 565 tackles, 359 of those were solo. He also has 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 5 interceptions as well. I mean, very, very, very productive player coming over here to Chicago. Lastly, they added another linebacker to just add more depth to this core, and they brought in Dylan Cole. The Bears had a much-needed overhaul to this linebacker position, and they look to improve from last season as they were one of the worst run-stopping teams in all of football. Now, as for the defensive line, there's still a ton of, development that needs to be done, but they have brought over guys like DeMarcus Walker and Andrew Billings to that front line. And that would definitely, bring a lot of depth and competitiveness overall to the training camp. I mean, obviously, you don't want to go into the training camp period with guys solidified. You do and you don't. So what I mean by that is you don't want, everyone just, you're guaranteed that starting job. You want there to be competition that's going to make guys play to their best abilities and really get them going. You know what I mean? So it's going to bring competitiveness to this training camp, which will be fun. We'll see who, can overall win a job. But with that being said, there's still a ton of work to do for the Bears. Now, in terms of what they need to do next, they need to go out and sign or draft edge rushers, maybe an offensive line, preferably at tackle position, and maybe some corner depth as well. Like I said, the Bears still have a ton of cap space and have a ton of work to do to make this team just a lot better compared to last season. Now, I don't expect them to be done. Like I said, they still have cap space. They're probably going to make a couple more signings here before the draft, and then after the draft as well, they'll probably fill out that, that roster. So, like I said, still plenty to do before training camp. We'll see what they do. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think is the Bears' biggest need at this point of the offseason? Subscribe if you're new. Join the family. And I will be seeing you guys in the next video. And like I said, comment down below. What team do you guys want me to do next?